Good morning. I'm John Bitson, the Menard Family Director of the Sheila and Robert Challey Institute for Global Innovation and Growth. This morning, I'd like to introduce you to Jeremy Straub. Jeremy is an assistant professor in computer science at NDSU and a faculty fellow in the Challey Institute. Welcome, Jeremy.
Thanks, John.
Yeah, it's great to have you here this morning. And Jeremy, you do a lot of very interesting research that's related to cybersecurity, related to privacy, related to information that's accurate or not accurate on the internet. And so what kinds of questions do you aim to tackle with your research?
Well, a lot of different things. I mean, one of the, biggest challenges that we have right now is really figuring out, what is safe and what's not online. And that kind of takes a lot of different forms. And I think, you mentioned a few of them, right? So kind of the more basic concept of cybersecurity, looking at, ways people can be attacked, ways they might defend against it, and then also things like trust, actually looking at whether content should be trusted, whether individuals should be trusted, even really whether individuals are who they say they are online. And so we've looked at a variety of different things recently related to, the whole fake news phenomena, where, of course, that term has taken on so many different meanings, ranging from, people that are talking about something that is deliberately deceptive online content, all the way to the other end of the continuum, where you might have people that are using it really to just talk about stuff they don't like. And it's very difficult, I think, even when the terminology you're using to refer to an area or a challenge isn't even agreed upon. And I think that's kind of indicative of some of the problems that we have online right now, is that there's just so much, information, misinformation, and other dangers out there, and then sorting through all that is kind of a daunting task for anybody, right? And we all have to deal with it to some extent, every day of the week, every time we use the internet, to figure out who to trust, who not to trust, and what information to rely on and not to rely on.
Yeah, so I think these issues are obviously very important. I think a lot of people, it's obvious why it's important, but could you talk a little bit about why the impact that your research has on society?
Well, that's an interesting question. I think in the long term, a lot of these things are really going to become the defining, issues of the next, 50, 100 years. And I think at this point, a lot of it just comes down to figuring out what some of those issues are, and, trying to understand, where we are right now, which obviously is, 30, 25 years into the internet, really being kind of a phenomena, depending on exactly where you pick the starting point. And then thinking about, if we kind of imagine forward to 50 years or 100 years of having the internet around, or having something like the internet around, what things are people going to look back at right now? And they're going to say, wow, I wish they had thought more about this, or wow, I wish they had thought more about doing something or not doing something before they did it, and trying to envision what some of those stumbling blocks for the future will be, and trying to get ahead of them in terms of looking at the policy implications and other implications before society has to stumble down the road and then come back from it. Even with like the new augmented and virtual reality we're hearing more and more about, and it's become so important that Facebook has changed their name to Meta to kind of show that they want to they want to be thinking about the metaverse, quote unquote. That really shows you how dramatically things may be poised to change in the next even 5 years. And there's a lot of new questions, right? Particularly when you're in an immersive environment where it's going to be even more difficult to tell reality, meaning real information. Obviously, I think hopefully everybody will realize that the metaverse itself isn't real, quote unquote, but it's going to be very difficult to tell real information from made up information, from gamified information, when everybody's basically seeing everything in that same environment, and that environment becomes immersive. So those are the types of things that we're thinking about.
Yeah, so it's obviously a very complex environment. I think you're on the leading edge. It's very interesting how you talk about not only the issues are changing that we need to think about, and you need to have a lot of foresight in order to try to anticipate what issues should you be researching. So I'm really excited about your research, excited to see what you find out in the future, and I appreciate you taking the time to sit down with me today to talk about it.
Glad to do it.
Yeah, thank you.